Okay. Welcome to the Doer and the Thinker podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Xander Gray.
I'm Jonathan Serrano.
And we're here, man. We're here. So we're not going to do episode one. We're not going to say what episode. I think we're just going to go for it. And then whatever you see is whatever you see. So we talked a little bit before we wanted to start. And we were talking about retirement. So let's not do that. I want to talk about social media. Are you ready for that?
Yeah, we can do that.
I think I feel like you're gonna ask me more questions about it than anything, at least for social media. You know what I mean? Like, just because.
Well, I feel like I might be backing myself into a corner here.
What do you mean?
You know, well, because I have certain feelings about social media right now, right?
Let's go. Okay, let's go. Let's start.
But, you know, depending on, I mean, we're doing this for fun.
Is it though?
Well, that's...
Is it though?
You know, I might be backing myself into a corner because if we do, you know, have to do more of social media presence and, you know, have to do a lot more stuff with it, it's going to...
Well,
you know,
how about this? How about let's go with what your thoughts are on it first, and then we can decide if logically if it makes sense for us to put it on. But I think whatever thoughts you have on it, either way, I think it's valid because we do have the same views on it in a sense. So I'm very curious to what your thoughts on it are.
Well, I guess I can start off with saying that I can understand that there's a way to differentiate it, right? Like, so there's social media as used by professionals as a tool, and then there's social media used by the general public, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when social media started, so like, let's say like MySpace, Facebook, right?
Okay.
It kind of started as a way to kind of keep up with your friends, you know, share information, keep track of, you know, like friends that moved away or whatever, you know. And it was more of a tool. Now I feel like it's a parasite. I feel like social media now is almost like a third nipple. Hear me out, though.
Go on.
Okay, hear me out.
Go on.
So a third nipple, right? Something
please.
Something that is always a part of you.
Okay.
Right? But not something that's necessarily necessary. Mm-hmm. That was horrible.
But here's the thing.
Hold on, let me back up. Can I apologize for that?
No.
Necessarily necessary? That was stupid.
Pull it back a little bit more, the microphone. Yeah. So here's the thing. Technically, we don't need nipples either.
Okay.
For men.
Yeah,
so if anything, we could take ours off too.
Yeah, but
you're not
going.
I know. I'm just saying. Yeah. Why do you even have it? Right?
Yeah, but okay.
Your analogy is so off.
No, well, you didn't hear the whole analogy. Damn it!
Go,
all right,
just go.
So it's like a third nipple, right?
Okay.
So it's somewhat out of place.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But it's gonna be with you for life, right? And it's there. Mm-hmm. So it's become part of your body, right?
Okay.
So social media for a lot of people has become part of their person, and I think that sometimes it's healthy, like anything else. Sometimes it's healthy, and sometimes it's very unhealthy. So I think that it's starting to cross the line nowadays. It's starting to cross the line from being used as something healthy to not majority, I want to say majority, but a good amount of people that aren't even aware of it starting to cross the line into that unhealthy spot.
I feel like a tumor would be a better analogy than a third nipple, because you were talking about parasite, but sorry, I just got stuck on that.
I like third nipple though.
okay, whatever. So, but I get what you're saying. So before it was like, you know, with faith. So I had a MySpace first. I think that would be like my first social media thing, right? But it wasn't even social media at that time. You just have your friends. The whole point of MySpace at that time, this is how old we are, it's about just music.
We.
Yeah, dude, you're 2 years anyway. It's about music, right? And then you have your top 8. Oh man, if like young people listen to this, like top 8. So you have your top 8, top 10, whatever. And before you put friends, and it's like, how come I'm number 2 and not number 3?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. No,
I think
how
that's
come I'm
when
number
it's-
3? I'm not number 2. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna do bands now.
I think that's when it started because
That's when it starts
yeah.
slowly creeping. And then I didn't have a Facebook until like a friend of mine was like, hey, why do you have a Facebook? I'm like, I don't know. I like MySpace.
I thought Facebook was trash when it first came out.
So she was like, I'll just set it up for you. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then it became a thing where you can, because again, I'm from Singapore, so everybody had like, I think before Facebook was Friendster, but I didn't have a Friendster. I just had Facebook, and then everybody started transferring over to Facebook. And that's how I kind of reconnected with a lot of my friends back home or back in Singapore or whatever. And then it became something else. And then slowly Twitter showed up, and then like Instagram showed up. And then Instagram at that time, it was just, you're just taking random ass pictures. If you really go back, I think it started in 2012 or 2013 or something like that. Before, you just take pictures of your dogs or whatever, and then every once in a while, like for me, I didn't even use it for music. I just posted just random guitar stuff or whatever, just for fun.
Yeah.
And then now, the whole goal is, at least for me, is to like use it to, you know, hopefully gain following and whatever, so that people can really see what I'm about and just kind of be honest and be truthful and vulnerable with Instagram or whatever. But then I also get that part where, and I fell for that too, faltered to it too, where it's like, well, how come she's doing that, or how come he's doing that and I'm not? Like, you start comparing, and it's like, oh, this person has a better life than I do. So you kind of have to like really separate it from what you're using it for to what you need it for, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, I think that's for some people like you, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe, or maybe for, you know, maybe I guess it's gonna be me as well, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I think for the general public, you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to differentiate between what you need it for and what, you know, what it's meant for or what you're using it for, because I don't want to say it should be used as something, right? But in my opinion, I don't think that it's healthy to use it as a comparison tool. Right? I don't think that it's healthy for people to use it to set expectations of their life based off of somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm. Keep going. I think it looks better up front.
It's a little friend.
It was just like so far away. Anyway.
I don't think that's not healthy. You know, like if you're scrolling through there to try to find out, you know, how you can elevate your status, you know, that's not healthy. And I think that's what it's starting to become. Whether it's something that you're doing intentional, where you want to be a better what are those people called, like the
excuse me, influencers.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you want to be a better influencer, right? So you're scrolling through there to see how you can one up people.
Yeah.
Or if you are doing it without being conscious of it, and you're just kind of a person that's they're going to have some kind of name for it soon. I bet you.
Well, I mean, they're already doing like
studies
where people have high anxiety. Again, I didn't go into heavy research, but like the rates are worse now with depression and everything else, especially with the COVID thing. Like, you can't really go out as much, but I mean, people still do, and that's fine, but you can't really, it's harder now because then that's all you're seeing now. rather than before, you kind of like, you can, okay, let me just put it aside and not think about it and then go hang out with friends or whatever. But then now, because depending on the kind of person you are, it's like, that's all you see now. And I think those influencers or whatever, and again, I can't speak for anybody else, but it's like now it's like a struggle now. Now I can't travel. Now I can't be by the beach and whatever. I can't, I'm just at home. But even then, it's like I'm just at home and I'm playing dress up. Then they have to figure out other ways to do content. And then it's like, so I would like to use a person we know as an example, but let's just kind of back away from that for now because of the conversations that you've had. So if you have any questions that you think might arise with this topic, like I think I would be like a good base, foundation for it, just because I've used it since day one, I suppose. And then I again, like I said, I've done that comparison, and then I just, you almost like have to question yourself, like, even if that person is doing great, doing wonderful, do you want that life? And 9 times out of 10, you're like, no, I don't really care what he's doing.
Yeah.
But because that person has that success or has that, like, I don't want to say notoriety, but like fame or whatever, and you're just kind of taken away, even though, and I always ask myself this, right? Like, if you're so worried about everybody else, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
So...
Well, let me ask you that question then. Do you find yourself comparing yourself more in your personal life or in your professional life?
I think it's more professional life more than anything. Personal life, I'm happy where I'm at. Obviously, we're not perfect. My wife and I, we're not perfect, but we work through it.
Right.
Those type of things don't really bother me. Like, let's say if you see a couple, they're like happy walking down the beach, like that doesn't bother me. That's like, oh, that's dope. But most of the time when you're putting it on display and that's all you do is on display, it's almost like statistically you're like, okay, what's going on behind the doors, right? It's like maybe they're not having a perfect relationship or whatever. And I've had friends that I know that's going through that, just from experience, not from just listening podcasts or just looking at it. You just kind of know, and then some of that person personally, and you're just like, oh, they're not really doing well, but they're just posting a lot.
Oh yeah, of course. And that's like, actually, that's one of the things that my wife kind of, she was my girlfriend at the time, but we struggled for a second because she would always say, oh, well, you don't take pictures with me for Instagram or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you don't ever pose, people, look at all these people that post these pictures, they're so happy and stuff like that. And that triggered me like in an instant, because for me, I am constantly thinking, and because I don't use this the way that I just use it to pass a dead time, Yeah,
it's more personal, more than anything, than like it's part of your job kind of thing.
Right, and I'm constantly thinking about the fact that for me, the way that I assume is that it's all fake, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's all a show. Just like, for example, celebrities. In my head, that's why I kind of don't get disappointed when people, disappoint other people, because in my head, celebrities are all like
degenerates,
right?
Your favorite word.
Yeah, they're all degenerates. So I don't get disappointed when a degenerate actually comes out, right?
You're like, oh, yeah, obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in my head, it's all fake. It's all a front that you're putting up. And it happened to turn out that she gave me a specific example. Look at this couple. They're so happy and stuff like that, always posting good stuff. And it turned out that he cheated on her, and they were married, and then they got divorced, and they had this great life. They had like a brand new Mustang. They had just bought a house together. They were successful because they both had really good jobs,
Right.
And then the truth really came out, right? And it didn't come out on social media. The only reason I knew that happened was because I knew that person outside of social media.
Right.
So for me, that's just a prime example, that this is all a show, and that's just kind of the way that I look at things, The type of content that I take in for and this may be a problem too that maybe I didn't identify, but the content that I take in on social media is mostly product based, and that's really bad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
yeah. Well, that's a
horrible, dude.
whole. Okay, here's the thing. That's a whole separate episode. Okay, so we can go about that. But I think the main thing for what we're discussing is that social media for certain people, if not most people, if you're not using it as a tool or as like part of your job, then it's like it's slowly going to affect you personally.
Right.
So like for me, and again I can agree to that because for me it's like when you see stuff, couples or whatever all the time, perfect all the time, then you know something's wrong, you know, in a sense. And they can be, but it's just from just experience, you just know something's going on. And this might trigger other people, but it's fine. This is our opinion. But when I don't see couples posting as much, you kind of know they're doing okay most of the time.
I mean, I think that's an assumption, you know. I think it just depends on where in the spectrum you are.
Well, if you know them personally, like, you know what I mean? Like we have, you know, a couple of my friends, like
I just read your mind in that moment.
No.
In that moment, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know.
So
exactly
I'm just
what you're
saying,
talking
sometimes
about.
they don't post ever at all. But because I know them personally, I know they're doing okay.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And then there's some that post all the time,
Right.
and you're like, you know what's
Right,
going on
right.
behind. So you're just like, so it's not an assumption. It's almost like statistically, that's usually how it is.
I guess.
Like
yeah.
for me, I can only use myself as an example. Like my wife and I, we hang out. She loves taking pictures of like us doing stuff, but it's for her phone. And then when she does post, it's really sometimes not at all. Like she'll post maybe, you know. So it's not like she's trying to like show people like we're doing great. Sometimes she goes days and days or weeks not posting at all.
Yeah, she's posting it for her enjoyment
For
as
her,
opposed for
She just want to share
everybody else.
Right,
Yeah.
right. She's just sharing it, and
So that's one of the things that, dude, that's one of the things that really bugs me, right? So my wife likes to take pictures, which is fine. I hate pictures because I'm a fat, ugly slob, right?
my fat.
And so to make, hey, but to make myself comfortable, I do the DeNiro, right? So I got to do the,
right,
the DeNiro.
right.
And we had a situation once where we were out with family.
Real quick, I do the Joey. You know
What's
what the
the Joey?
Joey
No,
is
no.
from Friends? You just look down, and then you look up.
That's horrible, dude. That's horrible because you have to be photogenic to do that.
You just have to
Well,
smile.
I'm gonna do it. Right, look down.
See, you have to do it like that.
It's horrible.
You
Yeah.
just gotta know the muscles.
But I don't have a natural smile. Like I don't have a natural fake smile. You do. That's why our logo is our logo, right? Because I hate my fake smile. But you're just there like, oh, let me turn it on. Turn it on.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, never mind. Go on.
So we had a
That's
situation. We were on a family outing, right? And we took a picture. It was like at some theme park. My wife snapped a selfie or whatever of the whole family, and it was a cool picture. It was fun. And somebody commented, "Oh man, this picture is so nice. Like it looks like such a good time." Or whatever. Like they commented this really nice comment, right? And then they were like, "Except for Jonathan ruining the picture." Right? So the reason why I ruined the picture is because I did the DeNiro, right?
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm just like, okay.
It affected you in some way.
First of all, how can I not go Xander mode, right? Because that like pissed me off like quick.
Yeah.
So how can I not go Xander mode and then just start?
And also,
right?
it depends on the person who said it, right?
No.
Oh, you just don't
because
care.
just that thought alone tells me that you, as the commenter, unless you're just trying to piss me off, and then I know, right?
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you said that, I'd be like, oh, that's just Xander.
Right,
He's just trying to piss me off. But anybody that comment in and of itself tells me that you post things just to please the general public, right? It has nothing to do with the content of the picture. It has nothing to do with the content of us as a family having a good time. I'm making a face to be stupid, silly. It's still showing us having a good time. You want me to take a stupid, fake picture to look pretty on your Instagram.
Right.
You see,
Okay,
and
so
that's
the
what makes me
person
super
that
angry.
commented is tagged in that picture, but
I don't know if they were tagged or not. I don't remember.
so was this person
It was
in
just
the,
like a random. It was just like another family member. I don't know if I don't think they were there. I don't remember.
Okay, so for them it's like they commented because they wanted to see a perfect picture. To them, a perfect picture is like everybody smiling,
Exactly.
like, instead of like just having fun and just whatever. So it's a separate thing. So you, based on what you saw and what you read, you just assume, and it's probably correct. You assume that this person that commented is that type of person where they do like.
I'm not assuming.
Oh, so
But,
you know? Okay,
yeah.
okay, then you know.
But beside that, I know. Even if it doesn't matter if I didn't know the person and they commented that comment, just the feeling behind that comment, right? Oh, it would be a great picture. This would be a great moment if only he didn't do that stupid face. That tells me that you don't give a shit about the content of that picture. You only care of what that looks like.
Right.
And to you, perspective is everything.
Right.
Where it shouldn't matter what the people in the picture look like. It should be the content of, oh, everybody's having a good time.
Right. There's a difference, right? Because that's a family picture where you're just having fun. But if you're doing like, as for me, like a band picture or whatever, there's a certain way of doing it. Like, dude, you close your eyes, or dude, you're supposed to be serious in this picture. So there's a difference, right?
Right.
So it was more like this wasn't supposed to be a serious model picture. It's just they wanted to take the picture because it's us hanging out, we're having fun, and because you, as a person, you're like, I don't like taking pictures, so I use my go-to because that's comfortable for you.
Exactly.
Instead of, yeah, I get it, because there are people in my family where they're like, they don't like taking pictures, but they do it because they want to make the other person happy, so they just kind of like, they kind of smile.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, most of the time people are not like me or whatever, because they don't deal with it all the time. So that's why they don't like taking pictures, which I completely understand. So in that regard, it just feels like people are so, I don't want to say blinded, but they're so, they put too much attention to that kind of thing instead of that person themselves.
Exactly. Instead
Like
of the
if-
experience around it.
Right. If they
Yeah.
know you, they're like, oh, he's not comfortable taking a picture. Like, hey, I love the picture. Or like, hey, Jonathan, I know you can do better, but hey, good picture anyway. Like, or something like that, instead of like being a dick about it. Right.
Right.
So,
I think that it used to be like a byproduct of social media that you would show the best parts of your life, right? Because nobody's going to take a picture when they're arguing with their spouse. Even though I really wanted to start like an Instagram like that with my wife, where we're just like talking about like real things.
I
like,
mean, you have to switch up the norm. I think that would be popular.
I think and that's what I said. I was like, what if we just did something where we talked about the argument we had last night and how we resolved it or whatever. But anyways, that's beside the fact.
But that would be hard though. Like it can't be in the moment kind of thing, because in the moment you're having that argument or whatever.
Right.
You can't like hold on, I gotta take this picture for the content.
Right.
It has to be like the next day. Then you kind of have to act it out.
Yeah, well, I don't think it would be like a picture-based Instagram. It'd be more like a story-based, and
Then that should be
talking
like,
about it. Like short.
Anyway, that's
like
a whole
short
different idea. We can
podcasts,
talk about that later.
Yeah, but I think that would be interesting. But my point is that people used to just post by accident the best parts of their lives. But now people are almost playing into that, right? To make their life look like it's the best, right? So it used to be, oh, I got a new car. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Snap a picture. But now it's more, the attitude has shifted. It's starting to shift, or it has shifted, where especially with younger kids, it's no longer, oh, I'm going to snap a picture when I get a new car because it's a cool moment in my life. It's, I gotta get a new car so that I can snap a picture so that everybody thinks I have a good life.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And that's where the third nipple is, because it's there glaring at you, right?
I still don't get that.
I like
analogy.
it. I just like the
That's
third.
fine.
I
That's
like
fair.
saying
I
third
agree to
nipple.
disagree.
Yeah.
So I unfortunately I don't know enough. Like I have my niece, but she doesn't really post as much, so I don't know. So I can't really compare. At least the people that I know at my workplace, whatever. It's like a handful of them would post to trigger other people, and then the other one would post like the same thing, like I'm on a boat, like I'm just chilling, like I'm wearing a suit, like, but it's like, and you're holding like a Louis Vuitton bag, and it's like motherfucker, you don't own that bag. Your friend told me you don't own that bag. So it's like the whole phrase of doing it for the gram or whatever. Yeah, I mean, when it's personal stuff, it's hard to like not judge it, or see, for me, I don't care. Like when I see personal shit like that, when they post stuff, silly stuff like that, and maybe this is me. Sometimes I put myself in an echo chamber where it's like, if you don't like seeing certain things, you just either unfollow or you just kind of mute them or whatever. So I was like, I don't have to see it, because sometimes I see people post where it's not like the whole extravagant thing. It's like they talk about inspirational things when I know them personally. I was like, you're not like that. Why are you talking about this when you have this persona on Instagram?
Right.
And then in person, you're completely different.
Right.
And it's not even like a job or whatever. It's more like it's your personal page. So it's, why are you like spreading lies or whatever? But like that's the norm, you know?
But
so,
that's what I'm saying is the problem. Right. Especially because younger people, as you and I, as the generation that kind of, we didn't start social media, but it started in our generation, right? And as that generation, we are seeing things evolve, so we can kind of, and even though a lot of people aren't even identifying it, but we can identify and talk about, right, the changes. But as younger people start to grow up with it, nobody is telling them.
That's all they know.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So nobody is telling them, hey, like, this isn't real.
Yeah.
Wake up. Like, it's not real. You know, you're just seeing a snippet
because they're also seeing their parents doing it.
Exactly.
You know?
And they may not, their parents may not identify it either, you know? So I think that's like this snowball that's going to happen. It's going to get worse as we phase out, right?
Yeah.
And kind of like the TikTok thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like not everybody, but it's like this big, almost like attention-seeking thing where you need to do stuff in order to get the attention, in order to get status, in order for your life to have quality, you know, in order for you to have fulfillment. That's the problem, where before it's like you're seeking fulfillment separate from this electronic, and you're just showing people things that give you fulfillment, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is like a really big issue that people aren't talking about enough, is that as me, as Jonathan, you as Xander, we are dependent on this electronic in order to be happy, right? And we can almost call ourselves hypocrites, right? Because we started a fucking podcast, like, right? We're going to be on whatever, but I'm happy. Like, if we never started this podcast, I would be happy and I would find some kind of fulfillment. Now, this podcast, you and I working together to do this, is providing me a lot of fulfillment as well, right? But it's not because of my status elevating. If we get 2 followers or if we had 1,000 followers, I'm gonna be happy because this is a relief for me, right? Talking about this kind of stuff.
It's like therapy, and that's the whole point I did my podcast in the first place, because I did it because I wanted to. And okay, so to go back to what you're saying is, it's all dependent on how you're seeing it and how you're doing it. So it's
intention.
Right. So that one end is like status and clout, but then the other end is that I have to do this real quick. Yeah, that's so loud, dude.
Why is it? It's on silent. I don't know. Just start it again.
Yeah, do it. All I'm gonna say is 29:59. So it's either you're doing it for status or clout, or you're doing it because you genuinely love doing it and you just want to share it.
Right.
I think we're doing it because we genuinely want to do it. We love it. We love podcasts and we want to share it. And it's also giving us a chance to like do stuff like this. This is fun. Like that we're talking about real issues, and then hopefully people can relate to it, and then start a conversation with us.
Right.
Like, again, like I said, like, I had people asking me, again, I'm sorry, apologize to go back to my podcast. People ask me like, oh, what's the goal for it? What's the end game? I was like, I don't really have any because I just want to do it.
Right.
So with this one, I just felt like it's a different conversations and being able to have a conversation with you, to have that back and forth and have different opinions. It's the phone. It's too close by that.
Unbelievable.
You gotta set it down.
That's my wife, dude.
She's calling you again?
No, she was texting me.
I would set that below because of
Where? Like on the floor?
Yeah.
Well, then you can't see it.
No, I can see it over there.
Oh. Stay tuned. We are working our technical difficulties.
Well, I mean, if it's gonna ring again, it's fine.
Okay.
So
then we have to get a manual one.
Yeah.
Like a real clock.
It's okay. Yeah. Put it up there. So we're doing it because we love it. I think that's a difference. When you do it for status and clout because that's the cool thing to do, I think that's why, depending on if you're interesting enough to be liked by people or to be followed or whatever, and there's a lot of them out there, or they do things to the extreme to get those followers or whatever. But if they are not genuinely that person or genuinely love doing what they do, then it's not gonna last as long. But you know what? You get what I'm saying?
I don't know, because I feel like sometimes something just snaps and something hooks people, right? And then they get success, and I feel like a lot of people started that way. Like they just did something stupid or something viral, right?
Well, yeah,
and then you just go with it.
So then it becomes, I have to be this person now.
Exactly.
So that's why I believe, and again, I'm wrong. I'm not popular. I'm not whatever. But I want to be able to just do it because I love doing it and it makes sense to me and the people around me.
Right.
But mostly me. So if something comes out of it, dope. But if it doesn't, at least I know that I am being true to myself. And then whatever growth comes along, if evolution comes along, then I'll go with where I'm at in my life at that time. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not doing it because everybody has a podcast. I've been wanting to start one forever. But the whole thing was I didn't start one because I had no idea what I wanted to say. And then when I started just doing it, then it made sense. And then with this, it just makes sense. Like for our relationship, for what we're thinking and what we're doing, even though we have similar like opinions or whatever in certain things, we also have completely different opinions on other things. And to be able to have a conversation and then just record it and post it or whatever, I'm just really curious to hear what other people like thoughts are, and hopefully they can come to us and just like, you know, that one thing that you said, like, I disagree, or like that one thing you said, I completely agree. And I welcome that. I welcome conversations, you know? So,
exactly. I think we don't have enough of that today. Like, I think that's one of the things that, you know, we as people are lacking is the ability to have a real conversation, you know, or even disagree.
Yeah, because it's like if you don't agree with me, so you are my enemy now.
Yeah.
Which I remember not that long ago, if you don't agree with me, that's okay. We can still get along.
Right.
But we don't have to hate each other.
Right.
We don't have to outwardly do things to piss each other off or whatever.
Right. It's kind of like sports, right? Like you can like the Dodgers, I can like the Angels.
Yeah.
And they're rivals, right?
Right.
We're still friends.
Right. So it's like either friendly competition or just that type of thing. And it's like when I feel like when somebody has an opinion and they would die by it, for me, it's like if you're not able to change your mind, it's almost like you're not mature enough to do that. Like,
well, I wouldn't say changing your mind, but I would say at least seeing perspective.
Yeah, and I think, I agree. What I'm saying is, it's if we don't agree, but I'm not gonna die by my decision. You know what I mean? Like if let's say we have an argument and then your side makes a lot of sense, I'm like, Oh yeah, I didn't think of it that way. That makes sense. Okay, cool. So you just start to not question yourself, more like you're giving yourself that space to kind of evolve a little bit, to just like, okay, well, I know I believe this dogma, this creed, but what he's saying makes a lot of sense. I
Right.
wonder, let me explore that more. Let me question it a little bit more. And I think that's
Yeah.
okay, you know? And if you get me on your side, then that's dope. But if not, like, I like it, but this one thing really bothers me because I don't agree with it. And that's okay. I think at least giving yourself that option to change your mind, giving yourself that option to like, huh, okay, let me think about that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and actually humbling yourself to be able to think that, right? I think that's really hard for people right now, to kind of humble yourself and say, okay, well, maybe I'm not right. You know, maybe there is good evidence or facts to prove otherwise, and maybe there is something else that's worth thinking or looking at. And I think that's super hard, because then you're not, it's humbling, right? You have to humble
I
yourself.
think most people are not a lot of people have the chance to be humbled by somebody else. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I guess,
in a sense,
yeah.
like, so I guess,
Responsibly, I would say.
yeah, meaning like, you play sports, well, do you play sports?
What's that supposed to mean, dude? I saw you look at my stomach when you said that, dude. That's fucked up.
No, do you, have you, shit, no, my guitar.
Yo, some bitch.
Okay, hold on.
Listen, all right? I know how to throw a
Did
ball.
you-
Is that what you're trying to say?
Did you play team sports when you were younger?
No, goddammit. No, I didn't. Let me tell you a story.
No, wait.
No, let me tell you this story.
Let me finish what I'm trying to say.
Okay, go ahead.
So, no.
No, I didn't.
Okay, that wasn't what I was trying to get at. What I'm saying is, humbling yourself, damn, that's mean.
But it's funny, though.
Yeah. I get my ass kicked all the time, right? When you're playing sports or whatever, like, that's always going to be somebody better than you. And, like, recently, whatever, I took some classes or whatever, and you just get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
You just get humbled. So, like, oh, I'm not the best dude in the room. So I think a lot of people aren't, I don't want to say young people, because older people are like that too, where they've never had the chance to like either get their ass kicked at something or literally physically got their ass kicked.
Yeah,
like,
I think.
Oh
man, I don't want to go there. But I think that.
Go there.
Dude. Okay, so let's talk about masks a little bit, right?
Oh God, here we
So
go.
I think, see, you said go there. So
It's a triggering issue.
I personally, I'm not a fan of masks, but I will obviously wear it, right?
Right.
I kind of have like a little anxiety thing going on with masks that I like. It really bugs me, right? I'm going to wear it because it's mandated or whatever, and I will always respect the wishes of a business, right? That's just how I am. I believe, if you're a business, I'm gonna hold myself with respect, and if you tell me to do something, I'm gonna do something. Obviously, if I don't like it, I'm just not gonna go.
Yeah,
to your business,
you can walk
right?
away.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that part of the issue with people not wanting to wear masks is this control thing, right? But I think that also it's just that people are so they're not uncomfortable. They are uncomfortable with the fact that they're kind of having a shift, right? And I think I don't want to make. I'm not trying to make generalizations, but we see that there are a part of the older generation that's uncomfortable with this shift, right? And I think that part of that discomfort is from people living their lives, having structure, having certain systems in place, right? And when you try to make a change into it, obviously it interrupts. I have this at work all the time, right? When we try to make changes in practice, people hate it. And I think that's, man, I can't even try to, I got it in my head, but it's just that interrupt bugs them so much, and that's why they lash out, right? But they're not able to say, I'm lashing out because I don't like interruptions. I don't like changing
Yeah,
structure.
I don't like
I'm
discomfort.
just lashing out at this rule, right? When the rule is so insignificant. And I get it. Trust me, I'm one of those people. I get discomfort. I get uncomfortable when I'm wearing the mask for too long. We were at Sprouts the other day, and I told Dunya, hey, we gotta go, and she's like, what are you talking about? We gotta get stuff. I'm like, I either like we hurry up and go, or I just have to leave and go sit in the car, because I'm starting to get it. I'm starting to feel it.
Like anxiety and just
I don't know what it is. It's like part of it is like my mask fogging up with my glasses and like this disgusting
you're just uncomfortable.
feeling.
You're just completely uncomfortable. Yeah.
So, so I think but people just are not willing to have a conversation about that, right? Like, if I were to tell you, if I come to you and say, you know what, I'm not going to wear your stupid mask. Like, that's so stupid. What for? You're trying to control me, But if I came to you and said, hey, Xander, like, man, you know what? I am so uncomfortable with this whole COVID thing that's happening in general, and wearing this mask outside every day, it just kind of scares me, Mm-hmm. When would you have more understanding for me? The first way or the second way?
Well, yeah, but that's with anything, right? When you can actually have a calming conversation, just like really tell somebody how you feel. Like, hey, I don't like that you're doing that. I don't like that you just said that. Like, it really hurts my feelings. I think it's about vulnerability, and most people, it's like, if I show vulnerability, I'm weak. I'm not a person. I'm not human.
Exactly.
I'm a piece of shit.
Exactly.
And that's not true. And that also based on society, because for back then, probably still now, I don't know, like, when you're not strong, when you're not like taking care of business and like stand up for yourself, blah, 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 you're not a man. You're not you're not American. When if you just open up a conversation, like, just like, hey, I really don't like wearing masks, and can I just not wear it? I was like, well, it's the rule. You should just wear it just because, you may be uncomfortable, but it might help other people, and it'll keep you safe too.
Right.
Like, even if the science or whatever, like, it works. Obviously, like, you blame China or whatever, you blame, like, but most countries, all these Asian countries, whatever, they've been wearing it forever, right? They've been using it forever. And also, like, when they had the Spanish flu, a lot of them are wearing it anyway, just because they're like, okay, what's the best thing that we can do to prevent this, or at least not have it spread or whatever. So but you're right, it's like
the understanding.
It's just the anxiety, the uncomfortability, and also, like, especially with what's going on, we have to look at, most of them are unemployed. Most of them, like, they're not able to go out. They're not able to see their family. They're not able to hang out with friends. So it's like one thing after another. And it's like, who's not wearing a mask? Fuck it, I don't want to wear a mask anymore.
Yeah.
And
or the other way around. You're not wearing a mask. You're killing everybody.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. But
it's not true, right? If I'm sitting there, if I'm not even opening my mouth,
right,
what is a mask doing, right?
Right.
But let's say I'm sitting, I don't know, let's say I was just sitting on the curb, right? And I wasn't wearing a mask, and then somebody, gets really upset. What are they getting upset about?
Right.
And it goes both ways.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. For me, it's like, I don't care if you wear one or not. Like, I'm gonna wear one, to respect you and respect me.
Right.
That is very easy for me. It's not like, it's not gonna take me away from other things. And if I get uncomfortable, I am a grown fucking adult. I can just go outside or just go to my car. Hey, I need to take it off. I'm super uncomfortable.
Right.
Or just walk away, calm my nerves. Okay, because I get uncomfortable too. And then, especially if you're exerting yourself doing stuff, you're just like, oh man, especially the cloth one is just pushing on your face. I get it. But take accountability that you're in control of it. Like, I get it. Rules are rules, right? But they mandated whatever they're trying to do. It's their business. What your main goal, especially, is to care for yourself, your family, your friends, and then do the best that you can to get that money or whatever.
Right.
And then get out, right? And, other people want to give service to other people, and that's great too. But the number one factor, the number one thing that you should care about is really yourself and your family, the ones that are close to you that you love, at least
Right.
in general, right?
Right.
So it's more like it's okay, just do it. And then if you're at a place where you're uncomfortable, just take accountability. Plus, you're not.
But that's you know what's so weird, man, is that like, speaking of accountability, and there are just people that I would, when I look at someone, right, especially someone that's older than me, I'm getting older, right, and I'm starting to hit I'm as a 19-year-old, you look at a 35-year-old, let's say, and you think that person is grown.
Old as fuck.
Not even old. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you think they're grown. You think they got their shit together.
Right.
You know, you think they should know more than you.
And most
right?
of the time they don't.
Well, that's just it. Like, I'm starting to you realize that, right?
Yeah.
And but it's just like, man, this is insane. Well, yesterday we were driving from Seattle, and we were passing the Tacoma Bridge, and this guy just kept cutting everybody off, right? He kept going around cutting everybody off. Even, and we were in the carpool lane, and he still cut us off. And in his back window, in dust, he had written, slow traffic, stay to the right, or whatever. And then he had like a law, or like a number, like some kind of regulation number.
He's
right?
listening right now.
Oh, I hope he is, because dude, I just don't understand. What's your thought process there? And this is like where I think that you and I could help each other, because for me, I can't relate to something like that, but you might, because of Xander mode, right? So
Go ahead.
here's my thought process. I don't understand, number one, why you're doing that, right? I can understand what you feel and the frustration you feel, but number one, how is you being the only person doing that going to help anything, right? Number two, how is it that you have a regulation number on your back window, yet you are speeding and you're cutting everybody else off, right? If you wanted someone to listen to you, how is breaking the law or being
literally driving like a maniac?
You're already
right.
Your
but they're not
character
they're
is
not
just taking
thinking
the
about
question.
that, though.
But that's what I'm saying is, okay, that's where Xander mode comes in, right? So you're not thinking about it because you're so angry and upset, but I don't understand that. I can't relate to that.
But here's the difference, though. I wouldn't ever do that.
I know you would never do that.
Like,
I know that. But we can compare situations where you have gotten as irrational, right, for different reasons, and it probably was a good reason. But for me, I can't relate to that. I can't relate to not thinking out a situation before acting. You know?
Yeah, I mean, so the difference is, like, yeah, I do get angry and stuff, but it's more like I need to say it out loud. I need to, like, yell or whatever. But I wouldn't go out of my way to, like, you know what, dude? I'm going to go on Facebook. I'm going to say this. And then after that, I want to make sure I key his car. And then, like, I wouldn't do any of that thing. Like, I just have to, like, if I get angry, I just say it out loud, see how much is a piece of shit that person is. And then I'm like, okay, then I'm okay. But I wouldn't go out of my way to do all that stuff, because to me, it's just that person is not worth your time. You're angry. I feel like if you're angry, emotional, whatever, feel it, take care of it, explode, whatever, at that moment, and then after that, let that shit go.
But that's where I don't understand. I don't understand that explosion. For me, that's
why you're not very good with emotions.
I mean, I'm getting better, I think, but I don't think that I'm not good with emotions. I think that I just think things out. So I think that, how do I explain it? When I take in information, right, I take time to process it. And by the time that it's processed, I don't think that it's worth showing it. Not worth, but like I think it's too late to show emotion, you know? Like, for example, for anger, if somebody calls me a bad name or, you know, whatever, let's say fat. For me, I'm going to, this may sound stupid, but for me, I'm going to think and try to assess why they feel a certain way about themselves, that they feel the need to call me fat, right? And by the time that by the time that like the reaction would have been to show anger, the moment's gone, right? And I've already moved on from it.
But then that's a good thing, because then you like, fuck you, you're fat, and you're like, huh. And then you kind of doze off, like you're just thinking about it, and that person's like, fuck you, whatever, and then walk away. But it just depends on the situation, I think. Like, the only thing that you can control is your emotion, right? The
Exactly.
only thing that
Exactly.
you can do. And most of the time, 99% of the time, 100% of the time, that person is really not angry at you. They're angry either at something else or themselves. So the only way for them to handle it is to attack you, make you feel low, make you feel how they're feeling. So, obviously when you're calm like me and we're calm, you can have that type of conversation, but when it happens to you or happens to me, then you're kind of reacting in a different way. So it's just all about being able to control your emotions and taking a breather. And it's always like, is it worth my time to take that extra step? But for me, how I cope with it is I just, okay, this is making me angry. I'm going to talk to you or talk to whoever and how angry I am. And then once that anger is just kind of out, either playing music or punching the punching bag or whatever, once it's out, then I'm able to kind of think about, okay, why did that make you angry?
Well, let me ask you this question then. Why can't you do that before you hit the punching bag?
It's just in my nature. I'm not able, because I have that energy and I have to put the energy somewhere. I'm not able to, and it could be a flaw, it could be whatever. I'm not able to like take that energy and then die it down. I need to like, and then I can kind of like, okay, cool. The energy's out.
But what if you took that energy and put it into like processing power?
That's calming though.
It's not.
It just doesn't make sense
work.
to me. So
Interesting.
So for me, it's like when I'm like, my heart's racing and I have to move around and I have to like either go for a run or like punch the punching bag or like really play music and stuff. If I don't do all that, then the energy is just flowing and flowing. And I have to do something physical. That's just in my nature.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like, it could be genes thing, it could be like a DNA thing where I need to expel the energy. That's why I'm always so active. I work out all the time, at least as much as I can. I do sports and I try to take certain martial arts, whatever, like to humble myself, to expel the energy. So when you're super duper tired, when you expel all that energy, you can call me a chink, piece of shit, whatever. I'll be like, all right. Like, I don't care because I've already expelled all that energy.
Okay, but if you have stressors on you, like let's say that you're, like today we were talking about, you're sitting in traffic and it's hot, your AC's broken, right? Mm-hmm. And you're sitting in traffic, it's hot, you've already got that cup that's like, partially full, and then somebody cuts you off. And then not only do they cut you off, but they stick their hand out and then they flip you off. Mm-hmm. I know, I have a strong feeling that would piss you off. You would go Xander
I'm
mode.
thinking right now, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, but is that because you're not feeling those stressors, or is it because realistically?
So remember when we talked about I talked about that where somebody cut me off and I looked over in the corner and they're just like not even paying attention. I had other variables and factors that was going on outside of that.
Right.
Because I was pissed at work. And then in the car, I was trying to get home, and then that happened. That's like, what the fuck? But if it's just me in the car, that shit doesn't bother me at all. Like, somebody cut me off, I'm like, all right. Like, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is adding those factors.
Well, yeah, if it's other factors. But because it's so hot, there's no way for me to get angry because my body is fighting off the heat. So it's using all the energy. So when I get home, that's why I'm so tired, because I'm already fighting this heat. I don't have time to get hotter about something else. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't think that you would be angry about it?
I can tell you 100% I wouldn't be, because I'm just like in that car just fighting that heat. I know you don't believe me, but
I don't.
I know me. I am who I am in my head, though.
I know, but Xander mode does exist.
You say that all the time, but it's like I do it all the time. That fucking pisses me off.
You don't do it all the time.
Right, but
you do it.
depends on the factor, though. It depends on what's going on that day.
But what I'm saying is, it shouldn't depend. There should be no factors, right? So there's no factor. Like, you're gonna have a lot of stressors, right? And how can you individually cope with those stressors for it not to affect the rest of your day or the rest of your activity that
Easy.
day?
If I just do, I get to do what I want, like music.
Okay, but
or
what if
podcast,
you don't?
Then it's gonna affect me. Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm gonna get angry, and then I'm gonna be like, okay, let me just go do the stuff I need to do for myself, like working out, whatever.
Right.
Like, I need to expel the energy. Like
And what
I
if you
said.
don't? What if something pushes you over the edge before you expel the energy? How can you? My question is, how do you think that you can put that into something, that energy somewhere, store it or something like that? Can't do
Not
it.
gonna happen.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's
Is
not gonna happen.
like, for example, right? At work, I can have a bunch of stuff happening at the same time. You know, you got somebody that needs help over there. You got somebody that's, dying in another part of the hospital. You have somebody else that needs help somewhere else that's in a high emergency, And the way that I do it, and it sounds super weird, is if I'm, I'll take a second, I'll press the button to go on the elevator or whatever I'm doing, take a second to walk, and I just stand there and I just shut off. So I just stand there and then I just stop caring, and then I start to reorganize my priorities, right? So my question is,
I don't care enough about my job to do that. That's
well, no,
the thing.
but I'm not talking about your job. I'm saying I do that in life too. Like if I am stressed about something and then my wife is pushing my buttons, I will, sometimes it depends on what's going on, but sometimes I will say something, but it's not that often that I will just snap, right? Mm-hmm. But I can't tell you exactly why. It's just because there's something there that's like a overflow valve, right? Before you overflow, that valve kind of pops off. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how to explain it. But you have no feeling.
I just walk away. I just like, okay, I need time to walk away.
So then that's your pop off valve, is walking away.
Yeah, if I don't get to do the things that I need to do to expel the energy, I just walk away and just kind of like maybe try to think about it, but I've never gotten a chance because I was able to expel the energy. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I don't have a choice, then sure, I would do that.
I wonder if there is something that we could, like, when that happens, right? If there's something that you can like start saying, where it would signify you walking away, but then like instead of actually physically walking away, you still get that same feeling.
Well, that's why I'm working on breathing and hopefully meditation, because the breathing helps. Like I've done it, I think once or twice at work where I was just super like annoyed, and I just take a super deep breath and then just blow it out and just do it a few more times. And then like, it's almost like natural. I'm just like, dude, not even worth your time.
Yeah.
So, and then I move on because I didn't have a choice, right? Oh, wow.
Damn, that was quick.
I mean, might as well just do it again. So we need to end it. We were talking about social media and then we went to something
and now we're here.
Completely different. So to end it, let's go back to the social media thing real quick, because we kind of went somewhere else with it. So I do want to talk about the thing that you were having a conversation with a family member of yours or whatever, and maybe it does relate, but maybe we already kind of talked about it. So do you want to reiterate a little bit?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think she'll care. I was talking to my sister-in-law, and we were kind of just having a conversation about the way that...
Maybe she doesn't want me to know.
No, she doesn't care. She actually told me to talk about it on the podcast.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Oh, lucky her. We're done talking about it then. She's not there yet, okay?
What are you talking about?
I'm just joking. She's cool, I guess.
She's pretty cool. So she was talking about comparing herself, and how she compares herself to people, and how she doesn't like that. So she has identified it, and she has begun the first steps of trying to not do that, right? So the issue that she's kind of brought up, and that's something that I've identified, is that in her family in particular, that's really, really popular. Like, so it's popular to put up a front, put up that face. So before social media, what they had to do is you have family events where you go and say, oh, well, my daughter has all A pluses. You know, oh, well, my daughter is captain of the football team. Oh, well, my son has, you know, has a degree in engineering. He's a doctor in engineering or whatever, you know. So, but now it's just constant. I'm the best. I'm the best. Look at my life. I'm great. This is great. My life is perfect. This is perfect, you know. And that's something that she has identified, but she still struggles with it. And so she compares herself to certain people, and she, kind of like you said, she kind of realizes, hey, I don't want that, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, she compares herself to somebody that takes trips all the time, right? And she has identified, hey, this person may not have as much responsibility as she has for, you know, taking trips all the time. She can just leave. They can leave whenever they want or whatever. But she still finds herself feeling a certain way about that. But then she starts to think about it, and she realizes, oh, I don't want that life. I want to live my life, you know?
She knows that, but she's still feeling that way.
Yeah.
So would it hurt to just mute that person? Would it hurt to just put herself in an echo chamber so she's not seeing it? Because I think when you're scrolling, you just see it because of the amount of posts that person are doing, right?
Yeah.
So if you completely shut it off, completely mute it, like toss it aside, are you going to be that same person? Are you going to find some other thing to compare yourself to?
You probably will.
But okay, again, I'm not trying to tell her what to do, but maybe try it is to just either put that phone away or just like completely just, you know what, for now, you don't have to unfollow because you're family, right? Because then that person will know.
Yeah.
So for now, maybe mute it. Just like, hey, I just can't take it right now. Let me just mute it.
Yeah.
And then kind of separate myself. And then, but I think the main thing is because she's aware of it, I think that's a good thing, right? Because she's aware of it and she's questioning it.
But I don't think that doing that stuff is going to do anything. That's my personal belief. And that's the standard that I hold myself in my brain, right? If you just take that information away, that doesn't mean the information is going to go away. You have to improve yourself in order to not stop doing that, and you have to improve yourself. So here is what I think. Here's my theory. That behavior is a symptom, right? So what that means is that you constantly comparing and wanting yourself to be better, and I'm not just saying her, I'm just saying in general, right? As this social media person, you wanting this is a symptom of something in your life that's lacking, you know? So it could be a lot of things. And I think that people now would rather go to this and use this as an excuse and want this and want that and keep wanting, then they would rather do that than sit there, look at themselves and tell themselves, you have weakness, you have something lacking, and you need to work on it, right? For me, I will call myself out that way, and I will attempt to get rid of that behavior, right? Because for me, I would rather work on the root of the problem than have to work on the symptoms. So instead of taking away that information, I'm gonna sit there and work on myself. So, and this is what I told her. And this is what I always tell myself, right? And this is how this helps me a lot with staying calm in situations is, and I always mess this up, but 5% of life, 95% of life is things that happen to you that you can't control, right? Things and information that you get that you can't control. But 5%, no, it's the other way around. See, I always fuck it up.
Okay.
So 5% of life is things that happen to you that you can't control, right? Things that, information that you get, or things that, situations that happen to you, right? That's 5% of life. 95% of life is how you react to those things. And that's the only thing that you can control, right? The only variable in any situation that you can control 100% is how you yourself react to something. And that is power, right? So, for example, people have told me, have brought up that certain places, that we would go to, like for conventions and stuff like that. Oh, like they don't like brown people or whatever. For me, I don't care. Why don't I care? Because a lot of people will sit there and like say somebody called me a racist name. They'll sit there and they'll be angry, right? They'll get charged up and then just want to lash back out. For me, I don't care. Why? Because I'm happy with myself, right? Sure, you can call me whatever you want, but I'm happy. And I'm confident in that happiness. And I could lash back out and I could probably find something really smart to say back. But I won't, because I don't need to, because I am satisfied with myself, right? So when you compare yourself to other people, when you're trying to lash out, when you show this anger, it's almost like you're opening a tiny little window to something that's missing in your life that you're not satisfied with. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What I'm saying is most people aren't cerebral like that. Most people aren't able to, depending on, I guess, upbringing and who they surround themselves with, they're not able to do that. Like obviously, at the time when you were growing up, you didn't have a choice. You were in your head a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So the only thing that you control is however you're feeling physically and in your head.
Well, that's something that I had to learn, though. That's
what I'm saying. Like, I think, and I'm getting there too, where I'm trying to learn, and I'm not as angry as I was before because I understood that what can I control, and I can control myself. So then you have to ask yourself questions like, okay, I'm really angry right now. Why am I so angry? So let's just go deep. Do the breathing exercise. So there's a lot of things that you need to do, at least for me, for being such an impulsive, like, not super impulsive, but just like ball and Angie, right? So for me, I had to get to that point where I need to, like, what can I do to get better at this?
Right.
So it just depends on how much you're willing to put in the work on yourself.
Well, I also think it depends on how when you hold yourself up to a mirror, how much you're willing to see, right? So a lot of people will hold up a mirror and they will not want to see anything because they're so afraid, almost like a scary movie, right?
I think the only thing that I can defend her is because she's not. Oh, I don't know her yet.
Well, I'm not talking about her in that situation.
Well, yeah. I'm just talking about because I said maybe she should just mute it.
Right.
But in your opinion, that's not going to change how that person, how she's feeling. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, for now, because, and again, I don't know her well enough yet, because she's not at that level yet to the point where she can ask herself and control herself, whatever, maybe muting it and then also work on herself until she's confident enough to be like, you know what, I'm okay with unmuting it. I'm okay with seeing it. I'm okay with liking it. I'm okay with commenting nice words about it.
Yeah.
And have it not affect me in that way for real. Don't do it because you're like, I can't feel like this, so I'm going to comment and be nice. No, be nice because you want to be nice. Comment because you want to comment, and be genuine because you want to be genuine.
Right.
If you're not able to do that, then step back and just really question yourself again. Okay, why am I still feeling this way? So because, and again, like with me, I get so busy with things, and because for one, I have too much energy, I feel like, and I have to do things to especially the things that I want to do, I have to do it, then I can, anything else that happens with the things that I don't agree with, it's not going to bother me because I already did my work. I already did my hours for what I need to do for myself. So we did this. I did the music thing. I did like art, whatever. Because I put time, I put hours into that. So if I had to like do mow the lawn, if I have to like mud the walls, if I have to paint the walls, I'm like, I don't care, because I already did what I need to do for myself. Because I for so long you live your life depending on who you are. You live your life for somebody else. You live them for your parents, you live them for the job that you work in,
Exactly.
you live for whoever you're trying to impress.
Or
And
for
then
social media,
whatever,
yeah,
right?
and I think that's a big problem.
So when you actually do things for yourself, I think realigns your chakras, right? It just kind of make you like, I got the chance to really be myself. I got the chance to really work on the things I want to work on, read a book, go on a walk, go on a run, work out, whatever. Then everything that's extra is just extracurricular activity. You know?
Right.
Even though that is responsibility, right? If you give yourself an hour or two each and every day to like, this is my time, this is what I want to do. I want to just sit, I want to meditate, I want to read my book. Don't bother me. But once you get that time, everything else kind of feels like you're just riding the wave after that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that comes a lot of that comes from like that feeds into fulfilling yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you are fulfilling and working on yourself, like you're filling your own cup, right? You're filling anything for yourself, then things don't bother you as much, or things don't shock your system as much.
Right. And it comes with loving yourself unconditionally too.
Well, I don't know about unconditionally, but
Yeah, I think you should. I think you
that's
should
tough,
love.
though, dude.
Well, it is tough.
Yeah.
But I think if you are willing to work on yourself and love yourself, like truly love yourself and like give yourself that love, give yourself that time, then everything else that you put out is genuine, I feel like. And that, I know that's a strong statement, but that's something that you have to work on.
But I think people have to kind of be careful about that whole genuine thing, right? Because sometimes there's times when you feel like you've learned a certain thing, right? Like, for example, like this whole self-love thing. And that's why I say that unconditional is a little harsh, because I can expect myself to love myself unconditionally. And now, let's say I'm starting to take that path, right? And now I'm getting okay at it. I'm starting to love myself more, right? And now I can still have these goals of unconditional self-love. Well, now when I fuck up, well, now what happens?
Yeah, you don't judge yourself for fucking up. You understood that you fuck up. You're like, okay, what can I work on? You're not fucking perfect.
Right, but then I think that sometimes people get caught up in wanting to be that, and then it turns it's ingenuine because you're wanting to be self-loving, you want to be wanting to act perfect. So like, say you're trying to not be angry, right? So you go the other way. You go, I'm trying to be nice all the time now, right? So instead of being angry at certain things, instead of kind of tempering yourself and trying to really, really work on it at the root of the problem, people just say, well, I'm not being angry, but then they get to this point where they're being so unangry that they're just being fake nice.
Well, yeah,
right?
that's black and white. I think if you're angry,
but it's not.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying fake shit. Like, I'm saying be genuine. And when I say love yourself unconditionally, love your flaws, love everything. Like your fuck ups, everything.
But that's true, right? That what you just said is true. But for people to realize that is the hard part.
Well, yeah, I think it's more like explaining it the best that you can for somebody to understand. I think when I say that, it doesn't mean no matter what you do, even if you fuck up, make sure you love yourself. No, I'm saying like give yourself that time to fuck up. Because you're human. Perfect fucking doesn't exist. You can be really good at something. You can be perfect, I guess, in doing something, but being perfect doesn't exist, at least in my opinion. I think it's about constantly getting better. So with loving yourself is giving yourself that chance to like, I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm not good at certain things, but I know I can get better at it. I know I can control myself. I know that if I genuinely love who I am, love myself, then the love that I give out is real. I don't agree with the fake stuff. Like if you're angry at that person, I don't think being fake nice is the way. I think it's almost like if I'm angry at you, if I don't like you, I'm gonna avoid you. I'm gonna be polite.
Right.
I'm gonna be true. I'm gonna be real. And then if you're willing to have a conversation with me, sure. But I'm not gonna be like, "Hi, how you doing?" Like I'm not doing any of that
I think that's easy
shit.
for us to say though, because
Of course.
you and I are like assholes like that, you know?
Right. I think it's anything is easy to say, but doing the part is the hard part.
Right.
Yeah. So, man, we need to stop.
We're way over.
Yeah, we need to stop. So I think that social media thing could definitely, especially with how we end it, I think it could go into that retirement thing that I was talking about. So because of like being able to do what you need to do for yourself that time.
I think that's going to go a completely opposite direction.
Anyway.
Because I got some strong feelings about that.
Oh boy. So anyway, this is the end of it. I think we went an hour and a half, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
So yay for me for editing. But I'm not doing it tonight. So that's it for today. I don't know the title of this yet, but we're still figuring stuff out. And I think I like this little...
Obviously, we're still figuring stuff out.
I like this little desk thing. So again, the video is going to keep changing, but the audio is going to stay the same. So that's it from us. I'm Xander Gray.
I'm Jonathan Serrano.
This is the Doer and the Thinker podcast. See ya.
Stay tuned for a Halloween episode.
Okay.